Hey,
How you doing?
good. How are you?
Doing good.
Awesome. So yeah, tell me about everything.
Yeah. So I got a lot to say, I guess. Um, so we're gonna start. Okay. So yeah, so I've been saw my message, but I've been studying for this thing since
Hmm.
last May. I have all my scores and everything that I've taken so far. I did like what do you want me to before we start, do you want me to talk about everything? Like every like my whole experience so far or
Uh, well, okay, I guess I could ask you certain things. So like, okay, you took the MCAT um in September and you got a 502. What was that breakdown?
okay, give me a moment. Got a 126 on CP. 124 on cars, 125 on BB, and then 127 on psych social.
Got it. Okay. And when you took this, or when you were preparing for this, what material did you use? Did you use like the AMC full length or anything like that?
Um, okay, so for this attempt, I did start studying on January. So do you want me to start every like besides AMC? Like, yeah, I did AMC. I did the like basically everything except the question packs. Um,
So you did all of the AMC full lengths, you're saying?
yes, I've done all of them.
You did the section bank, not the question pack, but the section bank.
Yes.
Okay. And
Uh,
yep.
what were you gonna say?
Oh, no, no. So, and for cars, you did the cars question back volume one, two, and diagnostic tool.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I didn't really score that well.
Yeah.
I just kept kind of hitting cars a lot. Although it was interesting though because I mean, would you like to see my score breakdowns first before I continue for all the FLs or?
Oh no, I'm guessing that so roughly like how are you scoring on the FLs, the AMC full lengths, like around
Yeah,
like
like around a 5.0, like the average was a 5.02. So I wasn't astonished with
did
my score or anything, but
uh-huh. Did you do any like third party full lengths?
yeah,
Which
I don't know
ones?
if you got a chance in the message, right? I did mention how I took like compared to last year. So what essentially happened was I took like six blueprints last year. And I mean I have the scores for that. But after that I had a little surgery. So I kind of took some time off and I restarted back this January. I have taken eight Altius full lengths. I have all of the scores for that. I mean I can share you my screen and you can see them.
Ru
Uh
Roughly how are you doing on the blueprint ones and the Altius ones?
The blueprint, I was slowly, like I got a 498 on the first one, then I got a 501, and then it just started to cascade down. On the third one, I got like a 496, then a 497, 495, and then a 492.
Okay.
And then for the Altius, I got a 499 on three and four,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got a 507 actually on the fifth one, so that was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just dropped down to 500 for the last like three.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Uh, Now, what do you think like held you back? Like, do you think it could be like um content gaps or yeah, like what do you think your main obstacle is?
Okay. It's it's hard for me to really like sit down and kind of say. But I mean the more I
Like
talk to people, I notice how it most likely is due to content issues, and I'm starting to accept that. It's kind of hard for me to accept that because I've been reading the books and I'm doing that. I'm like, I don't know how much more. I also think it could be the fact that I feel that sometimes I was never really honest with myself if I really don't understand something.
hmm?
And like at least the weaknesses part, I think there were a lot more weaknesses than I'd like to accept. So I think that was a big problem in it. Well,
Mm-hmm.
also there was a certain point. So what happened in July, I was starting to get closer, like a little bit, um, pretty good with like setting up myself with Anki. But then I don't know what happened to the set like deck. Like I lost all my progress. So I had to restart. And then the last month I was essentially doing like I can break you down my schedule. Like the last 2 months I would wake up at like 8, around there, 7 to 8. I would do like an hour and a half of cars and then an hour and a half of like some UWorld section of either it be BB, CP, or PS. And then I would just be trying to review for like 6, 7 hours.
Yeah.
End of the day, I have like Anki, but then it's like it's just so much. Then like I'm like it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's super common for Anki. That's why I have a very, very different approach to Anki. I think that it's not about how many cards you get through, just it should be something that you do like 45 minutes to an hour a day because it's yeah, it's gonna be overwhelming. Like, if you miss a day or something, it's gonna be like 3,000 cards due and it's not worth it to spend like 6 hours, It's not worth it to spend any longer than an hour on Anki. So for you, I would say to just do 45 minutes to an hour of Anki. Um, Now when it comes to the other stuff, so like for instance, like let's say we're reviewing a test. So I hear that you're saying like, yeah, there's definitely some content gaps, but when you're reviewing a test, for example, like how often is it that, you when you review it, it's like, okay, I got this wrong because I didn't know something, or I'm guessing that there's a lot that you got wrong that wasn't a content issue, but maybe was an issue with evaluating, the passage information that they gave you or using passage information or something like that. Like, how do you feel about, like let's just say like you're reviewing a test, right? Full length that you took most recently, let's say. Like
Okay.
how many like if it's not due to a content gap, like and you get like some questions wrong, what would you say, you missed out on? Or like how people, you know, make those like error tracking.
Yes, on the Excel sheet.
Mm-hmm. So, if you were to do something like that, what would be like the reason would you say for like a lot of questions getting wrong? Like
Okay.
didn't read passage correctly or like, didn't, misinterpret the question, etc. Like what could other reasons be besides content, let's say?
I think it could be a possible reasoning skill. Uh, I also had a tough time sometimes being able to understand if this is really a content issue or if this is actually a passage information, to be honest.
Yeah.
I tried to go through the end, like on the full lens. I know there's I feel like I know, I feel like you know what I'm talking about, the end where they tell you the foundational concepts.
Yeah, you know what? Let's do this. Let's have you open up like the most recent full length that you took.
Okay, we can do the scored one, I guess. Give me a second. I gotta log into my thing. So, from what I've spoken so far with all my stuff, like, what do you think, like, from your opinion, what possibly could be an issue?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out right now.
Okay.
So, so yeah, the most recent, like, what was the most recent test you took? Like a full length?
It was the scored one.
Okay. Yeah, let's open that up and let's take a look. Um, um, because yeah, I wanna see what's going on.
Okay.
You've taken a lot of tests and usually, um, you know, yeah, well, I guess I'll tell you a little bit after I see this.
Okay. I'm gonna sh I'm gonna share. Can I share my screen?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I did take it in portions because, to be honest, after I got let's, oh, after I got to the CP section, I was I did very good actually on FL4 CP. I got a 129. Um, but then when I did this one, I it was it was another it was another monster.
How,
And
how many tests have you taken in parts like that?
um it was I wouldn't say it's like I think it's this one and another one too, FL3. I mean, it's not parts, but like I usually just end the test because I feel kind of like overwhelmed, and then I just like still continue and I still finish the day. Um,
But
but yeah,
um
I know it definitely affects my thing, but
yeah. So like yeah, so you're saying for only two tests you didn't do it. Like when I say like in parts, I mean like or I guess what I should say is how many tests did you not do like perfectly uh with perfect simulating, simulating the test conditions on, test state conditions.
okay, sure. Okay, that's a good question. I think the unscored one I did that too.
Uh-huh.
I stopped after CP, but I finished the rest in a whole section. Um,
You say that? What do you mean? You stopped after CP and then what do you mean exactly?
like for example, this, right? So I took the CP section
Yep.
and then I stopped it.
Okay.
I just finished the test to the end. I didn't look at anything else. I just wanted to score. And then after a little bit of time, like after like maybe 5, 10 minutes, I restarted back and then I finished the rest of the exam,
Okay.
if
So,
that makes sense.
uh-huh. Got it. So, all right. Okay. So let's see. Well, we definitely don't want to do that in the future,
Yeah.
but uh but okay. So let's take so this is so hmm. Which test did you take that's recent that well, I was gonna say maybe we should look at a test that you did like in a complete, one
Okay. Let me see.
that's also recent. Um,
Yeah, this is read. These are all I did this all in August.
mhm. So okay, so this was just in one go.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, let's hit review all with Jack Weston.
Oh, how do I do that? Give me a moment.
Hit done reviewing. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Show solutions or hide solutions?
You could hit show.
Okay.
I just want to see. Oh, crap. Well, I was gonna say we could just filter it for incorrect, but we could just
Okay. I mean,
go. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I can do it. I don't mind. Let me see. I can do it.
Yeah, okay, let's do it.
How do I
Uh,
filter that
yeah, I guess you
again?
have to hit CP first.
What would I have to do?
Hit CP first. Wait a sec, hold on. This 190, this 129, is this is this a test where you did the CP section and then you like stopped it and then you did it again?
No, this is a whole. This was full length four. This I did the whole thing.
That's a really high CP score.
Yeah, and
Was this the only time you got something like that?
well, actually, I can show you my things right here.
Oh, okay. Your CPs seems to be your best well, I see I'm looking at the Altius ones. Okay.
Okay, yeah, this is the one that I did here.
These are the AMC ones here.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, your CP score seems to be on the upper end.
and
Car
then I got a 126 on the
uh-huh.
914.
So yeah, cars make sense. We're gonna definitely work on that. I'm gonna show you a strategy to use, but okay, sure. So let's go back to the test and let's just yeah, hit the CP section.
Okay.
Filter correctness
Yes.
correct.
Okay. Okay.
Then review all with Jack Weston, show solutions. Okay, so let's see. So for this question here, you know, I know it's been somewhat of a while, but
It's been like a month. I haven't even bothered to look at anything, but
wait, okay, wait, that's important to know then. So when you did your full lengths, like you reviewed them, right? Or
yeah, yeah. I reviewed them the next day on Sunday.
oh, okay, got it.
Like
So
I would take them, I would, because I knew my exam would
yep,
be
yep.
on Saturday. So I would always try to make sure my exams are always like aligned on Saturday. And then I would take the
Okay.
rest of the day off. And then on Sunday, the next morning, I would just start reviewing.
Okay. So let's see. So for this question, let's like see if, you remember what happened here. Um,
Okay.
like
I'll turn off solution. Oh, never mind. I still get a
uh,
solution.
it's fine, it's fine. I'm just trying to see like so yeah, so tell me what you think happened on this question. Like I guess I want to know like mainly like three things. I want to know like, okay, is this question something that you felt like you got right, or were you unsure of it? And and then in addition to that, what do you think was the reason you got it wrong? So like, I'm not sure. Do you like flag questions ever?
Yes, but typically, I mean, honestly, I never have time to go back.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But so for this question, like, what do you think, you know?
okay. Let me see. Yeah, it has been a while. Okay. So one limestone. You mind if I read it out loud? Is that okay?
Sure, sure. You could actually like hide the solution just so you can see the question normally. So,
Okay.
so what, yeah, yeah. So I guess what would make you, or when you saw this question, just tell me like what your approach would be or what.
All right. So when limestone is heated during step one of the reaction, uh, an equilibrium is established. Which of the following expressions is the equilibrium constant for the decomposition of limestone? So it's basically saying that equilibrium is established. This is basically when the rate of the product formation to the rate of the reactants are equal.
Okay.
Which so it's essentially saying which of the following expressions for the breakdown, I guess, of limestone.
Hmm.
So we have limestone of CaCO3 into a CO chamber to generate CO2 and CaO. Um, so if you were to write out it says equilibrium decomposition. So I do, from my understanding, I think what happened here is I believe that I forgot you do not include solids in the equilibrium constant equation. So the only thing it should be C, I believe.
Okay, okay. So this is something called, so all of the K stuff like KQ, KSP, KW, KA, KB, K, all of that stuff, right? With capital K, um, is derived from something called the law of mass action. And that's when you have products over reactants. And if anything has a coefficient, that turns into an exponent. And you can kind of think of it like this. Rather, because my approach, I mean, there's obviously going to be things that you have a lot of things that you have to have memorized, but I also want you to have an intuitive understanding. So since we include um concentrations in it, right?
Yes.
Um, so CaO here, okay, you said that we don't include solids, but let's think why don't we include solids, right? So if we have a solid, right, its concentration would be like 100% because it's a pure substance, right? Solid CaO is only CaO, right? So it
Mhm.
wouldn't make sense for us to talk about it in terms of concentration, whereas something like this, something that's aqueous, right?
Mhm.
That means that that thing is present in the solvent of water, right? And therefore it'll have a certain concentration that isn't like it can't be 100%, CaCl2, right?
Mm.
Because it's mixed with water. So you could think about it that way. So like aqueous stuff, gases could also, because you could have a mixture of gases, right? Like air is a mixture of like, it's mostly like nitrogen, but it's also carbon dioxide and it's also oxygen. So gases and aqueous, solutions can be mixtures, which mean that the concentration of it can differ, right? But if it's a solid like or a liquid, it's only composed of what that solid or what that liquid is. So there cannot be a concentration expression for that, right?
Okay.
So it's like if I gave you like, I don't know, if I gave you like, I'm trying to think of like an example like of a metal or something. Like, but metals, I was gonna say like a coin. So let's say this is a dime over here. Now
Okay.
let's pretend that this is like, let's just say like a gold coin or something, right?
Okay.
And I gave it to you, right? And then and it's made of 100% gold, right? Then its concentration would be something that wouldn't really make sense, right? Because it's 100% what it's composed of, right?
Even if you break it down, it's still 100%. So,
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah. So here's a better idea. Water, right? This is just water. Like I didn't put anything in it. Sure, there could be some, salts and stuff like that in it, but if I were to try to express the concentration of water here, it would be like pointless because it's 100% water,
Okay.
right? So like I want to be able to give you, so like on one hand it's like, okay, memorize that we don't include solids or liquids, right? But I also want you to know why we don't include solids and liquids because it's impossible to express solids and liquids as concentration values because
Mm,
they're pure substances. So
right.
that can help with remembering it. Um, because it's a psych social terms like maintenance rehearsal and elaborate rehearsal. Now, maintenance rehearsal is like straight up like kind of like memorization. And since the MCAT, so the MCAT is the toughest, pretty much like standardized test. Like I've taken literally every standardized test, and it's definitely
Mm,
the hardest one. So by the way, don't feel completely bad because it's really hard, right? Now,
yeah.
the thing one of the things that makes it hard is that it's ultimately a critical thinking test, the same way like the LSAT or the SAT or something is. But on top of that, it also tests a really, really like ton of information and knowledge and concepts. So that means that we're going to work on our critical thinking skills, first and foremost, but also there's going to be things that we are going to memorize just to kind of make it efficient. So, for instance, like Anki is perfect example of maintenance rehearsal where you can make a card that says this is the, law of mass action and therefore, we do not include solids and liquids. And that could be a card that you just memorize. And, that'll be enough for you to do well on this test. Like if they ask you stuff about that, right? If you just
Okay.
remember that we don't include solids and liquids. And that's maintenance rehearsal. And then elaborate rehearsal is when you do like kind of like more of like a deep dive and you understand you understand conceptually why. It's the why versus the what. The what maintenance rehearsal handles because it tells you we don't include solids and liquids. But
Hmm.
if you will ask yourself the why,
I see.
then you can see that you don't have to necessarily have these things memorized because you can kind of break it down into the fundamentals. And it's like, yeah, you don't include pure substances because how could you, right? Like, what
Mm.
could this concentration be, right? So concentration in chemistry is what's like the name for it.
Concentration. So like moles, I guess, moles.
So like something like this with the brackets.
Oh, okay, okay. I see what you mean. Okay.
So what is that?
Like CA. Are you talking like what you want me to say what's in the bracket?
I don't know. So like the brackets in chemistry imply something. Like it's telling you concentration, but there's a name for it.
Um, I believe I could be wrong, like an equilibrium.
Oh no. So I mean like how can we what so like let's say we for CO2 here, like for concentration of CO2, what would the unit be?
Oh, what would the unit be? For some reason it's not coming to my head. I'm not sure.
So molarity.
Similarity, okay.
So what's molarity?
Moles over liters of solution.
Okay. Now, so concentration, right, is it can't be like just the number of moles of something, right? Because it has to be a ratio.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, it'll be molarity, which is and that's moles over liters of solvent, right?
Hmm.
So if we have a solid like this, there's no liters involved, right?
Right. You would just have a we just have the again, as you said, the molarity, just a concentration.
Well,
Mm.
so
Moles,
saying
right?
like yeah, you could have like moles of a solid, but uh
Mm.
you can't have a molarity of a solid because that's moles of whatever material we're talking about over liters of the solvent. So like aqueous, right? This is going to be like Ca 2 plus and 2 Cl minus. That's all like so basically you take CaCl2 and you can throw it into water and then it'll break apart into Ca2 plus and 2 Cl minuses. And we can calculate, the moles of this over the liters of the water that it's in. And that's what concentration is in chemistry. And that
Mm.
also
Mm.
shows you that it can't be, it can't be well, it shows you that a pure substance can't have a concentration. Okay. So this question I'm gonna file under content and let's take a look at some other ones.
Okay.
So is this one you got right also wrong also or
Yeah, all of these are wrong, I'm pretty
oh
sure.
yeah, I forgot we filtered it.
Mm.
Okay. So what about this one? So like let's talk about this. What
Okay.
your uh
Oh yeah, I remember I remember when I was taking this, I recall now. Um I was running out of time, so I believe that I did guess on this.
on question 8 you're running out of time?
Well, the thing was,
You do like
I
discrete
started to.
first or something?
What's up?
You do like discretes first or something?
I did the end of the discretes, and I kind of started. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was just like I started to try to change things up here and there, and I noticed how like towards the end. sometimes the questions started to be a little bit like simpler, at least from my experience. So I kind of just worked my way back, and then I try to do as much as I can to get some confidence, and I would kind of start from like the beginning and whatnot. So
Okay. So yeah, I'll definitely have something to say about that, but okay. So we can say this could be a time thing. All right, let's look at next one. All right. What about this one?
okay, uh, I do. Yeah, it's been a while since I saw this passage. Okay, let me see. The use of pulse laser radiation in the PRK procedure as opposed to continuous laser radiation allows the cornea to increase the area of exposed to the radiation. That's what I put.
Okay.
Um,
Now,
I'm trying to think in my process like why exactly I picked it.
yep.
I believe I was also kind of clueless on how to approach this question based on the
Yeah.
information that they gave.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of just went with like something that popped up. I'm like, all right, pulse laser radiation versus continuous. I kind of think about, okay, maybe it's something has to do with power or intensity. So maybe there's extra,
What
like,
are those things? Power, intensity?
could you repeat that question? I'm sorry.
Oh, so what are those things? What is power? What is intensity?
Okay, intensity, I remember it's the amount of energy per unit of time, at
Hmm,
least from the equation that I remember. And then power was
the other way around.
so you're saying power is the amount of energy per oh right, okay, okay. Yes. Power is the energy per unit of time. And then intensity, I guess I'm drawing a blank.
All
Because I'm
right.
drawing a blank.
So, okay, let's look at the next question.
Okay.
Um,
What is the
yep.
concentration of the acute leukemia CC95 combination value? CC95 acute leukemia combination micromolar.
Uh,
Okay, yeah, something I did notice
what
with myself.
what
Oh,
is a micro, like what is this thing I circled?
that is, yeah, I believe that's micromolar.
All right, and what is a micro thing?
Micromolar. So from what I recall, what I remember, 1 molar is essentially equal to 10 to the sixth micro.
Wait, you said 1 molar or
Yeah,
mic?
like one M, like one big M unit
Oh,
isn't that how we compared both of
okay,
them?
okay, okay. So, but you really mean like a micro, right?
Yes, I mean I guess I mean at least from Anki and what I remember is like 10 to the negative six.
So,
10 to the negative
so,
six micromolar.
so a micromolar would be 10 to the negative 6 molar, right?
Yes,
Okay,
10
okay.
to the negative six
What about
molar.
the what about this?
That would be nanomolar, so that's 10 to the negative nine.
Okay, all right, okay. Now, okay, so let's see. So, oh yeah, I was also going to ask, how are you with the MCAT math?
Yeah, honestly, I started to notice towards the end that I
Yeah,
actually struggled with it a bit more than I thought.
got it.
So I mean, I on a scale of maybe 1 to 10, I would say maybe like a 3 or 4, if that helps, maybe.
Three or
I don't know.
four in terms of how you are with it. Like, okay,
Yeah, I don't think I'm too confident. I mean, I feel that if I had extra time, I feel like I could figure it out, but like in the constraints of an MCAT and constraints of how much time, I don't believe in my ability with math skills, to be honest with you.
okay. So this question's saying concentration of CC95 for acute leukemia in micromolar. So we have this value and we need to convert this into micro, right? Or
Okay.
rather, sorry, combination value, this one. we need to convert this into micro. How,
Right.
how would you do that?
Okay. I'm guessing, well, I do know that micromolar are 3 magnitudes higher.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm thinking maybe I just do 0.9. Oh, is it? No, sorry, 0.6, mm, 10 times 10 to the negative 9
Yep.
molar times, and then on the bottom, that's what kind of confused me there. I didn't know what to do, but I was thinking maybe one times, I mean, zero, like, yeah, I think maybe 1 times 10 to the, well, it's nanomolar, so I guess 1 times 10 to the negative. Well, I mean, honestly, yeah, that's where I get lost because I'm like, I don't know how to convert between, if it's like straight molar to nano, it would be easy, but converting
So,
between nano to micro, just, I don't know why it confuses me.
so this is what you're gonna do regardless of what we have, like for a dimensional analysis, right? Is gonna be, and it doesn't matter if this is to micro or to, grams to mole or anything like that. So like, okay, so you correctly said that zero point 0.6 times 10, I use e notation, it's faster, times
Mhm.
10 to the negative 9. This amount here is the zero point 0.6 nanomolar, right?
Okay.
But we want to convert it into micromolar. So when we multiply it here, in the denominator, we want the unit to be molar. That way the unit cancels out. So 1e negative 6 molar is 1 micromolar. And so, yep. And so
Mm,
this way,
okay.
the molars cancel out and we get our answer in micromolar. So now this becomes zero point 0.6 times 10 to the negative 9 molars over 1 times 10 to the negative 6. It'll also be molars. And then this would be zero point 0.6. Now, what do we do with these exponents?
You subtract them. So I think it's -9 plus 6, so it's like -3 or I think
Negative
-3.
9, negative 9 minus negative 6, which, yeah, turns into negative 9 plus 6, right?
Yeah, so there should be -3.
Negative 3
But they
micro.
don't have that, so I mean, so I remember from Anki, the Lars, so right is to
Yep.
subtract, so I think it should be C, right?
Yeah, so left add,
And then right is to
right
subtract.
subtract. So there you go. So, okay, so this one was a dimensional analysis thing. Okay, let's look at the next question. Oh, and so I guess when you did it, it was just the math, right?
Yeah, I was like, for some reason it just
Yep.
didn't hit me. I was like, what do I do with this mold? I don't know how to get rid of it. So
Yeah, how about, okay, let's try this. How about, let's say, do you remember what a pico was?
10 to the -12, I
All
think.
right. Now let's convert 1 picomolar here into, how about kilomolar? Nothing's going to be measured
Okay.
kilomolar, but you know,
Um, and you want the final units? You want the final units in
I don't know.
kiloliters?
Set it up for me the way that we set up the previous problem.
Oh, is there any way that I can write it?
Yep. There's an annotate tool in the uh Zoom toolbar.
Oh, there you go.
Hmm.
I've never used this before. Okay. So, I mean, I'm guessing this is 1 times 10 to the, oh, wait, 1 second. I'll stop here.
Well, on the bottom, what unit do we want to be?
I was about to say picometers, but I realized it's probably a better point to put molars into this
Wait,
because we
tell
can,
me, tell me, tell me why though. So what do we want our answer to be in Pico?
no.
So if we put this on the top compared to if we put this on the bottom, which would result in it being canceled out.
I was thinking, I just recalling my mistake, but I feel like maybe doing instead of doing picometers, we could convert this
Let,
beforehand to 1 times 10 to negative 12 molars and then
let's
convert
just
it.
try dealing with what we see here, right?
Okay.
So we want our answer to not be the pico. So
Okay.
so how about this? Let's try it out, right? So let's say we did this, right? 1 times 10 to the negative 12 molars is 1 picomolar. Let's say we did that.
Okay.
Our units would end up being picomolars times picomolars, which would be picomolars squared, divided by molars. That's
Okay.
not what we want, right?
Yeah.
So what can we do? So let's see. So how about since we have picomolars on the top here, we can have picomolars on the bottom here, and then the 1 times 10 to the negative 12 molars here. And then this would
Mhm.
mean that these can cancel, right?
Okay.
So
That's
if
fine.
you're, yeah, so for dimensional analysis, I would get into the habit of just doing, instead of like this, multiplication sign, just do like parentheses and then like a horizontal line. And whatever you have, on the top here on the left, since you want that unit to disappear, right, you would multiply it by something with a unit on the bottom.
Okay.
How about this? Let's say we have like 6 meter, 6 meters per hour. And we want to convert this into like meters per second. So,
Okay. So I'm guessing
okay.
we could do 1 hour here
Yeah. So now why are we putting the 1 hour on the top?
so we can cancel out the age.
Yep. On the bottom, right?
And then on the bottom, we want to get seconds. So I mean, maybe we could do 60 minutes and then go from
Yep.
minutes to
Yep.
seconds.
Go for it.
All right, it's gonna take me a bit. I'm just gonna put M. It's, 'cause I'm writing with a mouse. Uh, and then we want to cancel out the minutes. So we could put, I was about to put 1 minute is equal to uh 60 seconds. And then I guess this cancels out and then
Yep.
this cancels out and then we get meter second.
Perfect. Now, how about now convert this to meters per second?
Okay. Um,
Yeah, do the
I'll do it, yeah. I'm trying to get in the habit of doing what you did. Okay.
yeah, because a lot of times, like you'll see that, I mean, like, you'll see this more and more, like, in the upcoming months, but a lot of times, or something that I noticed that a lot of students don't like doing is like writing stuff out. And I noticed that for myself, um,
Mhm.
I would always start writing stuff out because when I start to write something, it will like when you start to write something, it'll trigger like memories. And so like I know it seems like it's kind of uh like what's the big deal between putting the parentheses and putting the X? Um it's so it jogs your memory. But yeah, good. Keep going.
Okay, just to reiterate, so you're basically saying, like with dimension, drawing the parentheses allows you to sort of make the connection and possibly understanding it's like kilometers or hours and kind of like activates that part of your brain or something.
Yep, yep, yep.
And you said meters and second, right?
Hmm.
Per second. Okay. I mean, I'm guessing before I go, I feel like I mean, you can kind of like see if my reasoning here. I mean, I'm guessing we have to cancel out one by one, and like I would have to do kilometers first and then do hours later.
Hmm.
Okay. And then I would 1 kilometer has 1,000 meters.
Yeah. In the future, I would say probably best to write it in scientific notation.
Okay. And the E you're saying?
Yeah, you could do it like that. You could do it by the normal way times 10 also, but instead of the 1,000, write either 1 times 10 to the third meters or 1 e 3 meters because it'll make the math easier, you'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. And then, I guess we have the meters here, so I would just do 1 H
Mhm.
and then 60
Yep,
M and then 1 M
yep,
over 60 seconds.
yep. Perfect. Good, good, good. All right, awesome. So, okay, let's move on.
No, how do I X? Okay. The next, you want me to go to the next question? Okay.
All right.
It's
This
a
one,
reasoning question, I guess.
yeah. So, okay, let's look at the
So,
next one.
okay. Which of the, I remember this was hard. This was a hard one. Which of the following compounds is, oh, you
So,
told me the next one? Okay. Na2CO3.
all right, next one. Next one.
I think this is a dimensional analysis question that I got wrong here. Okay.
Yeah. So, um, okay, so this is another thing we're going to work on, which is units. So, like, if you don't remember the formula, the units will help you. If you don't remember the units, the formula will help you. Now, this question requires us to know. Oh, and when I say this, I also mean to know how to deconstruct units. So, what I mean is, like, 1 Newton, right?
Okay.
What could, if you deconstructed this, what would this, well, so when I say deconstruct, so okay, I'll give you an example, right? So like 1 Newton, right? It's a measure of what?
Uh, it's a measure of force.
Force, right? And you,
Oh,
uh,
give me one moment. If that's okay. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
yep,
Oh, don't know why my
yep,
recording is. Okay, that's fine. Recording doesn't work. Okay.
yeah. So, okay, now, do you remember like Newton's second law or like anything like,
Yes. As far as I remember, I know Newton's first law is object in motion will stay in motion, and then the second one is that essentially an object will only move if a net force is greater than zero.
so that's also part of the first law, but see how I wrote something out here, F equals
Sure. Oh,
what?
mass times acceleration.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's another example of just I wrote down the F equals and then it jogged your memory.
Right.
Then you thought mass times acceleration. Now mass is in what unit?
Kilograms.
Acceleration?
Meters per second, or like meters per second squared, I guess.
Yep, yep. I like how you said per second. So a Newton then is if you deconstruct it, it can be deconstructed into this, right?
Yes. Okay.
So that's what I mean to be able to do, to know how to deconstruct units. Now, for this question, they're talking about 4.2 amp hours, right? And the choices are in what's this?
Coulomb.
Right? What's Coulomb a unit of?
Current. Right, I think.
Maybe something else?
Coulomb. Joules per Coulomb, it's used in voltage.
Well,
Or
coulombs can't be joules per coulomb because that has coulombs in it, right?
Hmm.
So so it's a
Okay.
measure. So maybe the question stem so could help you because
Oh, charge. Okay.
yeah,
Charge. Okay.
good, good, good.
Charge.
So yeah, so now an amp is a unit of
Current.
current, right?
Current. Okay.
Now, okay, so now an amp, deconstruct that, it would be coulombs per second.
Okay.
Now we know that, so now they're asking for an amp hour, right? And the amp is, charge or coulombs per second. And hour, I mean, we know we would convert it into seconds. But generally speaking, right, we're doing amp times, a unit of time. And amp itself is charge over time. So, so an hour, I'll just say is 3,600 seconds.
Okay.
But you see how when you multiply these, your answer will involve the seconds canceling out, giving you the answer in coulombs, right?
Mm, okay.
So yeah, so deconstructing units.
Very important, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah. And okay, cool. Next question. Um, so this one,
Estimated average force.
mhm,
Yeah, frankly, I was kind of stuck. I'm trying to recall what happened here. I
okay.
think my reasoning that's I guess I kind of did so many questions and I recognized maybe it says 20 grams enters the heart. Oh, no, man, wrong reasoning. Wrong reasoning. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened here, to be honest. Uh, the estimated average force. Yeah, I knew. I just I genuinely didn't know how to go about this, to be honest.
Yeah, so we're given, so also for calculation problems, you want to take an inventory of what values are given to us. Okay. So
Okay.
this 20 grams is mass, right?
Yes,
And what about this?
that's meters. I mean centimeters per second. So maybe the flow of the flow.
Uh, maybe something simpler.
Centimeters per second.
Uh-huh. So like the centimeters part isn't really that important because it's just another way of expressing like meters per second, but meters per second would be what?
Meters. I'm not quite. Oh, like I'm not quite sure. I'm not. I don't know why I'm not quite sure understanding what you're exactly asking.
Oh, so okay, what's meters per second a unit for?
That's speed, velocity,
Velocity, right?
velocity.
So 25, so if it's centimeters per second, it's still going to be like meters per second, right? In terms of like, so what I mean is like, so like seconds, hours, minutes, these are all just units for time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so meters per second, centimeters per second, kilometers per hour, these are all units of velocity, right?
Yeah.
So, so 25 centimeters per second is velocity, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, what else are they giving us here?
They're giving us the and leaves at a certain time frame after 0.10 seconds,
So
and then
this
it
is a unit
gives
of
a unit of time,
good.
and then again it gives you another term for velocity at another speed. I mean another
Okay.
velocity, I guess.
So now we have V1 here, V2 here, right?
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, without even reading anything else, from what's given to us, let's think what can we find, right? So we have time, we have mass, we have V1, V2, and well, yeah, that's all we have, right? So what can we find from this stuff?
I'm guessing maybe the V1 and the V2 and the time,
Mhm.
maybe average velocity,
So
thinking.
so if we wanted the average
Okay.
velocity, we wouldn't need time, right?
Oh, sorry, I meant to say average acceleration, maybe?
Yes. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. So V2 minus V1 over T, acceleration, right?
Hmm.
Good. All right, so now what are they asking for?
Yeah, they're asking for what is the estimated average force
Force.
on the 20 grams of blood as it moves through the baby's heart.
Sure. So what can we say for force?
So we can say force is equal to mass times acceleration.
Yep.
So basically, I guess it's plugging in the numbers for acceleration, and then they already give us the mass.
Good. Good.
Although,
Yeah.
uh, do we need to?
Convert like
Yeah, we don't need to
centimeters.
convert, right?
Yep, yep. You
Okay.
always want to convert, but yeah, so you see how what we did here was we took an inventory of the values that they give us, right? And then you were able to determine from what we have, oh, okay, we can find acceleration, and for given mass, we can find force, and that's what they're asking for, right?
Yes,
Good, good, good.
the units that they give you. Okay.
Yep,
Interesting. That was that was a cool way that you did that. Nice. That
yep,
makes it a
yep,
little less overwhelming, I guess.
yep, yep. It's my job. So let's look at another one or the next one.
They're
Okay,
no.
okay. Yeah, hit done reviewing. All right, let's go back and let's just do the same thing for BB. So yeah, filter by incorrect. And yeah, review all with Jack Weston.
Height solutions or show?
You could you could hit show, yeah. Um, okay. So most of these do you looked here, I'm guessing, okay. And or uh okay, let me just see go forward. Okay. All right, go back. So for this one, yeah, I guess what were your thoughts here?
So it says most cytochrome P450 enzymes alter the activity of drugs by, let's see, trying to remember, it's been a while. Dephosphorylating and phosphorylating. It does say that growth hormone regulates the expression. I don't really remember what growth hormone did here. Okay. Yeah, I think somewhere here,
Hmm.
it talked about how
Yeah.
growth hormone plays a role with JAK2 and something about phosphorylating. So I kind of figured it has to be. I think with the reasoning, I mean, I haven't read everything and I don't quite remember, but I feel like something has to do with uh when I drew it out or when I wrote it out, maybe I just kind of misplaced which one is the phosphorylating unit and which one might be the dephosphorylating unit. I think that could be it.
Okay. All right, let's look at the next one.
As blood passes through actively contracting skeletal muscle tissue, definitive hemoglobin. It's actively contracting skeletal muscle. What did I get this wrong? Hmm.
So tell me about hemoglobin.
Hemoglobin has a, from what I remember,
What's the purpose?
to carry oxygen
Okay,
to
what's the
the
purpose of
tissue
that? Uh-huh.
itself.
So, uh, yeah. So, okay, what's the purpose of that?
Yeah, to deliver oxygen. We know that hemoglobin tends to
To
have
deliver
a
oxygen
higher,
to
what's
what?
up?
To deliver oxygen to what?
To the tissues,
All right. Why do the tissues need oxygen?
to go through cellular respiration to
Perfect. Perfect.
as a
Perfect.
final acceptor for I mean for
Yeah. Yeah.
ATP
So,
and that goody goody
so
stuff.
yeah. So cell respiration means that we're using oxygen, and so actively contracting skeletal muscle would be using uh doing cell respiration, right?
Yes.
So it needs oxygen, right?
Hmm.
So if the hemoglobin, when it's, passing through this muscle that needs oxygen, it would want to give it oxygen, right?
As it's passing through the blood, yes. When it gets to the muscle, yeah.
So its affinity should decrease, shouldn't it?
Yes. And it typically, as far as I remember, I think it, well, at least according to the question, I think it decreases because of the
Huh?
I don't remember.
So
I remember it's like the bore, like the I remember
Or
the
effect, yeah,
curve,
yeah.
yeah. But
So okay,
I
so
forgot that.
but you just see how this would be decreasing, right?
Yes, because it want the tissue, as you said, the tissue wants the oxygen
Good.
to go through cellular respiration.
All right. All right, let's move forward. And then this one.
I guess it's a passage reasoning question, I guess. Basic
So
passage. The most likely reason for this therapy would be to prevent. I think in the passage, what they talked about, the Prader-Willi syndrome, I think it talks about in this paragraph. Um,
so they talked about how it produces obesity in that first paragraph for first sentence up here, right?
mhm.
Right? Do you see that?
Yes, with certain causes of obesity, such as Prader-Willi syndrome.
Huh? Yeah, and then here they also say that, it's caused by this, some type of thing with the gene or whatever, but uh it's characterized by, so these are the things that happen if you have Prader-Willi syndrome. You have growth hormone deficiency, cognitive deficiency, um, feeding difficult, poor muscle tone, um, insatiable appetite, and excessive eating, right?
Hmm.
Now, in this question stem, they're asking about once it reaches the hyperphagic state, which means excessive eating, right?
Yes.
And so they're saying that we can give them hormone replacement therapy to prevent something, right? Now, if this causes, you know, excessive eating, which causes weight gain,
Excessive eating, weight gain. Okay.
you would want to prevent weight gain, not weight loss, right?
Okay.
Now,
See what you're saying.
so and let's so that's the opposite of what we want. And let's look at the other thing. So, what do you think about giantism?
Giantism. Uh,
So, ask
given
yourself, is this something that Prader-Willi syndrome would cause?
Prader-Willi, I mean,
Like, would gi
not quite, right? I don't think so.
Tell me why.
Because again, it says that it ends up it's okay.
So what are the things that Prader-Willi syndrome cause?
As far as according to passage,
Huh?
growth hormone deficiencies.
So if
Cog
you got a growth hormone deficiency, would you be likely to exhibit giantism?
Could you repeat that question again? I'm sorry.
Sure. So if you had growth hormone deficiency, would you be likely to develop giantism?
Probably not.
Right?
Mhm.
So we're not going to be preventing giantism, right?
Right, because we don't have enough growth hormone. I mean, yeah, we don't have enough growth hormone.
Huh? Good. And then short stature too, right?
Hmm.
Right? So, because that would be something that would result from the growth hormone deficiency, right?
Right. Okay.
So that could be out. And then we have poor muscle tone. So my guess is that the muscle rigidity could, you know, possibly be like, wait, muscle tone. And they're asking why would we want to, what, or rather, what would we want to prevent? So let me see the solution for this.
Okay.
Let's go down. Short stature. Oh yeah, crap. Okay. So okay. Hide it again. Sorry. So I crossed out giantism because that's something Prader-Willi syndrome will not do, right? And weight loss because that's something that it would not do.
Right,
But
because we said that it would cause weight gain because of the hyperphagia, right? So
yep.
okay. Sure.
But what it would do is short stature.
Because of the growth, because of the decrease
Yeah.
in growth hormone. Okay.
Yeah. So sometimes these can be a little weird because of like the double negative kind of thing. Like it can be easy to like confuse yourself, like I just did 5 seconds ago. So, but yeah, so they're asking, right? They're saying, okay, these people have this syndrome, and what would therapy prevent? So you're basically asking us if we get to fix the symptoms of this Prader-Willi syndrome, what would that prevent? So we're looking for something that Prader-Willi syndrome would do in order for us to prevent that from happening.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Like Prader-Willi causes short
Yep.
stature, but what we can do, we can try to prevent that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see what you're saying.
Exactly. So,
Okay.
okay, so that's good. Let's continue.
Based on the passage subunit of PTX, I'm guessing this whole thing is least suitable for a generation of vaccine, which wouldn't be, I guess the question's asking like which one isn't good enough for a vaccine. Um, when I look back to my reasoning, I kind of remember this because it was a weird one. I picked S5 just because it's so much on the outside and it's not binding to the receptors of the cell membrane.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
So
surprised why I was really wrong, but
no, no, no. So you did uh the right logical thing, which is which one is the most different. So so for instance, S2 and S4 are similar. So we don't those are not going to be our answer. And then S5 is different because it's completely outside. And but S1 is also different in that it's inside also. And while it might be outside, the outside part is blocked, it seems, right?
the outside part by S5, right?
Uh,
It's blocked.
so what about S5?
No, you said you just said that it's blocked. Are you talking about S5?
Oh no, sorry. So S5 is completely outside. S1 is the only one that's also inside, but the part of S1 that's outside is blocked off. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Now, how does like, a vaccine work? Um, or rather, yeah. So tell me about, or yeah, tell me like, yeah. So how does a vaccine work?
From my understanding, I guess a vaccine just sort of presents the body with specific antigen, allowing your
What's
body to
the
create,
antigen?
yeah, like any antigen, I guess a virus,
Like what is an antigen?
something that your immune cells can recognize as foreign.
Uh-huh. But like, let's say something has the antigen on it. Where would that antigen be?
Typically on the outside, like on
All
the
right.
cell membrane.
Okay, okay. So the least suitable one for the vaccine would be, so you said that if it's outside, right, the antigen should be outside.
Yeah.
So the least suitable one for a vaccine would be something that's on the inside,
Mm,
right?
yeah. Okay.
Yep,
That
yep.
would probably be the most suitable. S5 would probably be the most suitable, I'm guessing.
It's weird because I'm with you in that it's completely outside. So I don't really like that. But uh yeah, I can't answer that. But I think your approach here was right. You're looking at what's the most different. But if you just added in the vaccine aspect of it, um, then you can kind of see how, it won't work if it's inside. And I think they said something like after the B component binds to the cell surfaces, the S1 unit is a subunit is inserted uh, into the cytoplasm. So,
Mm.
but yeah, okay, cool. So, okay, next one. Uh, okay, that this is just
Yeah, this is a content. I was like, well, I can't believe I got this wrong when I saw that.
yeah. Okay, let's look at the next one.
Which compound is predicted to mimic the effect of exercise in
So,
undifferentiated muscle cells in bio?
yeah,
Vigo, right?
so for these passages that are full of a bunch of acronyms, I have a very specific strategy for how to deal with these, which typically involve me like writing out proportionalities, um, as well as like schematics, because there's just way too many, you know, acronyms, right?
Yeah.
So let me show you real quick what I mean by that. So, for instance, they're saying that myode 1 here is a type of myogenic factor. And also I'm gonna like show you how to like figure out like meanings of words from without knowing it. By kind of looking at pieces of it, like myo.
Means muscle.
Yep. What
Okay.
about genic?
Making something, Genesis.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. So myode 1 is gonna make muscle happen, right?
Sure.
Okay, and they're saying that and how it does that is it binds to some part of this cyclin dependent kinase inhibitor, right?
Okay.
So, and then it causes some, muscle to be differentiated, and it contains this nuclear localization sequence that is a bunch of, uh, amino acids that you're expected to know, and I would also like maybe put down like charges for the charged ones.
Okay.
And then they talked about CTS being some type of, way for them to simulate like exercise.
Oh,
And
do you mind pausing like for like 1 minute real quick? Is that okay?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. I'm gonna stop sharing. Is that okay? Just for 1 minute.
Sure, sure.
I'm trying to put my headphones on.
Yep.
Okay. Hello?
Mhm. Yeah.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. Sorry, there's a lot of background, so hopefully you didn't hear that.
Yep. No, I didn't hear anything. Um, so I'll show you this type of strategy, um, maybe like next time. But Uh, so let's see. So for this one, if we look at the choices, right, we have some type of microRNA that would, actually, all right, let's move on from this one.
Okay. What is the net charge of nuclear localization sequence?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of messed up here. Like I knew the charges, but I think I made some like mistake, like a silly
Yeah,
mistake, I
yeah.
guess.
So
Yeah.
yes, you'll see that like, something that, whenever you get a sequence of amino acids like this, you're gonna write down the charged ones, right? So D negative, E negative,
Lysine
A positive, R
and then
positive.
arginine. Yeah. Okay.
So unless I'm missing one, that should be zero, right?
Yeah, I think I messed up. I think I remember now. It's because of asparagine. I think I had zero, but then I don't know why I thought asparagine was plus for
Got
some
it.
reason, and then I think that's why I put plus one.
Got it. Got it. Okay. All right, let's look at the next one.
Sure.
Um, so data interpretation is not another common thing people have trouble with. So, um, okay. So that's something that I'm just gonna write in. And let's look at the next one.
Okay.
Um, this is a very high yield topic. Um, and
Mhm.
I'll go into it more in depth next time, but STY, what amino acids are these?
Serine, threonine, and tyrosine.
What side chain, like what, can you tell me about their side chains?
Yeah, so serine has a straight up just a CH2 group and then
Oh,
OH.
what?
Like, well, yeah, all of them have OH,
Yeah.
hydroxyl groups.
Okay. Now, I want you to train you to whenever you see a hydroxyl group, an OH group, I want you to think nucleophile. Okay.
Okay.
It's the most common nucleophile on this test. So and the most common electrophile is a carbonyl group
Hmm.
because the carbonyl group, which is a carbon double bonded to an oxygen, since oxygen is highly electronegative, it pulls electron density towards itself and away from the carbonyl carbon. So this oxygen has a partial negative, carbonyl carbon has a partial positive, and a nucleophile is attracted to positively charged things because nuclei are positive. So this will
Hmm.
attack here, pushing this up here, brings that back here, kicks off this leaving group. So you'll see this all the time. Now a phosphate looks very similar, right? It has, a double bonded oxygen. It has even, three more oxygens on top of that. So that's going to be something that will also be nucleophilically attacked, and then it breaks off the phosphate. Okay. Now,
Okay.
uh, kinases, this is all super high yield. Kinases are transferases. People usually think that they're just things that phosphorylate stuff, but they can also dephosphorylate stuff. So, like, if something strictly speaking phosphorylates something, that enzyme would be a phosphorylase. If an enzyme specifically dephosphorylates something, it'll be called a phosphatase. But a kinase simply transfers phosphates. So it can transfer a phosphate from ATP to a substrate, resulting in ADP, or it can transfer a phosphate from a substrate to ADP to make ATP. So kinase is a transferase. It uses STY, and
Okay.
that's because STY have hydroxyl groups, which are nucleophiles, and they get phosphorylated, or they can be phosphorylated. So that's super high yield. You 100% see it. So here we have T
Just, yeah.
and no S and no Y, right? So
I
this should be that, right?
Yeah, the my reasoning with this and like what I mean, for the most part to this point when I take the exams, Um, I saw like a lot of serine, threonine, and tyrosine, but I think what kind of threw me off, I don't know why I put three, but the aspartic acid, because it still kind of has a glutamic acid. They have an oxygen group, so I figured it could possibly act like a nucleophile.
Well, the acidic
So,
ones would have a carboxylic acid group that looks like this.
oh, right. Okay.
So,
So those wouldn't be good nucleophiles.
correct, yeah. So the hydroxyl is when it's just the OH,
Mhm.
because when it's like this, I mean, sure, it looks like it has an OH, but it's really carboxylic acid because it donates a proton turning into O minus, and this can be resonance stabilized. So,
Right.
good. All right, let's look at next one. All right, next one. Next one. Next one. Okay. Next one. Keep going. All right. Okay. So I think, yeah. So I think I know what we can do. So in terms of, oops. So I'm gonna share my screen.
Would you like me to stop sharing?
Yep.
Oh, never mind. I guess you got that. Okay.
You can see what I'm sharing.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is your study schedule, and from going over the stuff that I saw right now, um, I concluded that there's largely still content gaps here. Um, in addition to the other stuff which we'll go over when we meet. Like, for instance, we're gonna meet sometime sooner than later to do cars together. That way I'll show you the cars strategy and you can apply that to the uh cars stuff that you'll do like in between our sessions, as well as data interpretation. I'm going to show you how to do that. So that will probably be like the next time we meet. So I'm going to separate. So I separate this into three phases. First phase is accuracy phase. We're just going to learn as much as possible. Phase
Sure.
two is third party full length. Phase three is AAMC full length. You've done all the AAMC full length. So we're going to try to think what we're going to do for that, closer to when that comes. But starting off, though, it's going to be, well, these days have passed, but Anki, 45 minutes to an hour. I want you to start. You have the Miles Down deck?
Yeah, I've downloaded.
Yeah. So start with the essential equations deck. Um, it's,
Wait,
yeah.
you mind if I write it down? Write it down.
Yeah, yeah. I can put it here too. So, um, essential equations. Um, and honestly, the rest of it could just be like normal. Um,
Okay.
but yeah.
Um,
Yep.
may I chip in with what I'm thinking about so far?
Oh, sure, sure.
Yeah, so I do agree with what you said. Um, it's I'm feeling too, like especially talking to you today, I'm probably sure that it's also a content issue. Um, and I I'm starting. Do I should I like I was thinking about getting this like I forgot what I was gonna say. I was thinking about so we're just going to do like a straight like content review again, like reading the books. I found this guy like who does videos, and I'm thinking maybe I should go watch these lecture videos.
Oh no, no.
Um,
Here. Let me show you. So what I have here written down is the Jack Weston content diagnostic, right? Because
yeah.
passive content review isn't going to help us. So you go to if you go to jackweston.com, right? Scroll down to this QBank, hit study QBank now. Here, see it says MCAT content diagnostic, right? See it?
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Select that. There's one for BV, one for CP, one for Psych Soc. And this is what I want you to start off doing. Um, you know, each of these. So I'll kind of show you what it looks like. So it'll look like this. So just like a question like this, phosphorylatable amino acids include, right? Blah, 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 side chain, blah, 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 blah. So this stuff covers everything content-wise that you'll see on the test. And it's since it's you answering questions, it's actively doing content review rather than just passively reading a book or watching a video or something like that, right? So, I mean, like, if there's a topic that you don't know how to like answer or even like, where to begin, sure, you can use like those resources, but I think what we're mainly going to do differently from the first time around is that we're going to uh make sure you know the content by doing this content diagnostic because otherwise you might know it in theory or something like that, but when it comes to the application of it, there could be issues. So the content diagnostic, I would say, is the most important. I mean, I start all of my students off with that because it'll cover everything content-wise, but it'll involve you doing questions. So you get to know definitively, okay, this is a content area I'm good at or good with. This is a content gap that I have. And then we can fill in those content gaps, when we meet or when you review the test. Sorry, when you review the content diagnostic. And in addition to that, it'll be, well, I guess you've done the AMC cars stuff already, but we could do like Jack Weston cars, but it'll also be cars, and that is something that you'll do like once we go over a cars passage together, which will likely be like the next time. Like, because I want to go over like with my students, I try to go over cars uh first, just so you have a strategy that you can apply to the cars stuff that you're gonna do, from that point on. So that's pretty much what the phase one is. And so it'll be Anki 45 minutes to an hour, Jack Weston content diagnostic, and cars stuff. And each of these days, whatever you do, you just put a strike through. Um, and if you let's say did Anki for 30 minutes instead of 45 minutes to an hour, just edit the cell to say 30 minutes and then put the strike through. So that's going to be the priority for this upcoming week, let's say. Now,
Okay.
after that, after the content diagnostic, after we reviewed it together, we will have all of our content. Like, I don't know if you've seen in on my channel, but like I had like with a student,
Yeah, I've
like,
seen I've seen a decent amount like of like the onboarding sessions and
yep,
what you've
yep.
done with one of the girls. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. With one of my students, it was like that like kind of 20-day boot camp kind of thing. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
so with her, we like the first couple of those videos was just going over the Jack Weston content diagnostic. Because with her, like, yeah, so with a lot of students that have already done like these blueprint tests and things like that, um, sometimes doing something really hard isn't going to be helpful if there's still some foundational stuff that you're not understanding. So I always start with the content diagnostic with students. So we basically like can definitively come away from it to be like, I know exactly what to do if I see like something about buoyancy or if I see a KSP question, etc. So that'll be
Okay.
the first thing. And once we finish that, we'll do the section bank, and uh we could decide, if we're gonna have you redo the section bank or have you do the volume two section bank. But I think we're gonna redo it because it seems like I think you can still benefit from, even like, and we'll decide once we get to that point. Like, so basically I go backwards from the test date. So,
Oh,
yeah.
I don't think I yeah, I'm not sure. I believe I did put I don't think I put an MCAT date yet. Did I message that? Because I was actually thinking about um especially after being honest with myself, I realized content is an issue. So I was thinking of possibly taking it in March. That was my plan.
Yeah. Whenever you want to take it is fine, but
Okay.
through the Jack Weston content diagnostic, the content review is not going to take nearly as long as it would otherwise. So it's not going to take too long to get that content down. Since
Sure.
we're going to be doing the content diagnostic because it's just we're going to do it actively. So once you're
Okay.
finished with that, and we've reviewed it, it'll be the same thing, but instead of the content diagnostic, it'll be the section bank, and that'll be you applying those concepts and content to passage-based questions. And so that'll be the section bank. And then, so do you have Blueprint like the rest of the Blueprint tests and the rest of the Altius tests? Yeah, right.
I haven't taken I haven't taken 7 through 10 of Blueprint, and I
Yep.
haven't taken
So you have them, right?
10.
Yep.
No, but I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't mind buying it. I can
Okay,
borrow it.
okay. Because the thing is, like, Blueprint and
And it
Altius.
sucks, I have to, but but I don't want to take a retake one because I know there's the inflation and that stuff. So
Oh, yeah. So yeah, I was gonna say that Blueprint and Altius are the best third-party full-length exams. So that's why I'm asking
yeah.
that. But okay, so that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna have you start with that Jack Weston content diagnostic, followed by the section bank, and I would have to put in like the February, March, stuff into this.
I
But
mean, I wanted to get your input too. Um,
so,
with everything that you've seen and all my scores and whatnot, it's
yeah,
I I would love to take it into anyone and just get it over with.
uh-huh.
But and I also feel like I'm also fresh with the content. But what do you think? Do you think I should wait till currently have one set up for March right now, but I mean I can
I
obviously
mean, if it's if
change it.
I mean, if I
What do
was
you think?
yeah, if I was you, I would take it like I would give myself the most time possible. So yeah, I would take it in March if I was you.
Okay,
So
sounds good.
so here I just
I'd rather just get this one and done at this point, or two and
huh?
done.
Yeah. So do you know when in March?
Eighth.
March 8th. Okay. Good. So because I go backwards from the test date. So the week before this is going to be the last practice test you take, phase three. Of course, Anki, 45 minutes to an hour will always be this, and this would just be like I'll put like because I may have to make a decision on whether I want you to retake these AMC tests or not, but I'll just put it in. So yeah, let's say that one, and then something like blind review is something that I'll talk to you about once we get closer to that. But
I
so
think I saw a video talking about blind review.
hmm,
From what I recall, it's like you take the exam, but then you kind of estimate or try to see which ones you got wrong without really looking at it and just take it again, right?
so you write down the ones you got wrong. You do a retake without the timing constraint, and then you just do the ones you got wrong the first time around. And the purpose of that is to separate the questions you got wrong because you really didn't understand it from the questions you got wrong because you were running out of time. Because if you think about it, if you got some questions wrong because you ran out of time, and then you don't do the blind review, you do the regular review where you read the solution. It's like you're wasting that question because you never got a chance to try it out.
Okay.
So that's the purpose of that. So, oh, whoops. And
I also have a couple after you like finish this schedule thing. I also have a couple more other questions. I would love for to get your input on that too.
mhm.
Okay.
So okay, now these two would be okay.
You think it's a good idea for me to retake those ones?
I thought you did
The
8 of the Altius.
Yeah, I don't think I did nine. Never mind. Yeah, you're right. No, no, sorry.
So yeah, okay. And then did you say you had UWorld?
Mm, my subscription ran out, but I mean,
Uh,
I can
that's
buy it again.
that's fine. So so
I'm a little curious. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little curious. Why do you prefer to do the section bank first in phase one? Like, isn't that typically done, I mean, towards the end, from what I understand?
I mean, like you're saying like that people do it towards the end.
Hmm.
So the reason that I think the section bank is better to do in the beginning, so I have it so that you do the content diagnostic first, which by the way just consists of discrete questions. Uh, so it's not passage based, but that's fine because the purpose of it is to figure out what content areas you're good at, what content areas you need to fill in. Um, and then the section bank is going to be you applying all that stuff to actual passage based questions. But section bank isn't, I mean, for like the CP one, BB one, Psych Social one, each of them is like 100 questions. And that's not really you know, like a test format. So I think that it's good to do it prior to taking the tests because in your phase two and phase three, it's going to be taking the tests, taking the practice tests. So, and then
Okay.
typically what I have students do though is like, so let's say for instance, like, you take this Altius full length 9 here and you
Yeah.
review it. And let's say you discover that you're getting certain questions. So, like for instance, a better example could be like, okay, the test that you just did, um, you know, you needed to so like you had some confusion about power and intensity. So it would be like that. It's like so like let's say that you take this Altius full length 9 here, you review it on this day, and you see that okay, I got this question on power and intensity wrong. Then what I have, so I wrote here UWorld targeted content. That meant that if you had UWorld, what you would do is you'd use UWorld and you'd select power, you'd select intensity. Whatever things you get wrong on a practice test, like content wise, you can then during the week use UWorld to
Yeah.
populate and show you passages and problems on that topic. And you'll learn it
Okay.
and you'll, do it during the weekday. And then on the weekend here, you'll take Altius full length 10. And let's say you're getting some questions on, buffers wrong or something, buoyant force, something like that. You'll on the weekday, you'll go to UWorld and you'd select buffers, you'd select, Henderson-Hasselbalch stuff, you'd select buoyant force, Archimedes principle, and you do that stuff during the week, right? And then you'll do the next test, blueprint full length 8. You'll review it the day after, and let's say now you're getting certain other topics wrong, right? That's why I have it set up this way because this way, we do a test every week, and during the week we do that targeted content review, which something like UWorld enables you to do, but the section bank you can't sort through that by topic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so, uh,
Okay.
so yeah, I think the section bank is great to do after the content diagnostic, but before the full lengths. And then after that
Interesting.
point, you're going to be doing your full lengths and you're going to be learning stuff in between the full lengths, learning the stuff that you need to
Interesting.
learn in between the full lengths.
Okay. And regarding these reviews, okay, so like once I review, how would you, and that's something that I guess I struggled with
So,
because sometimes I felt like I understood it, but then my Anki deck for all of those things would just get so jam-packed with stuff to the point
Yeah,
where it's like I don't
yeah.
know how I would retain the reviewed information. So what do you think about that?
Yes. So now this type of thing, error tracking, is something that I don't generally, you know, have everyone do. But I think for you, what the or for students that have taken lots of full lengths without improving that much, I think that for you, like it would be very useful to do something like this. So that's like when we were going through the questions today, like I was asking like, okay, like I know like